Hello, my name is Allie, and welcome to Funny Fat Friend, a podcast about this bodacious biracial babe trying to find herself in film. Here's an update. We have been protesting here in Louisville for 84 days, and we still have seen no justice. I'm continuing to highlight organizations leading the way in creating equality this week. I'm going to tell you about Surge, which is showing up for racial justice. This is an organization for white people specifically to learn and organize in the fight for equality and equity, which takes the burden off of Black people and people of color to educate. Check them out at showingupforracialjustice.org. Alright, sweet. I know it's been 2 weeks since the last episode, but this week's film surely will not disappoint. It's the 2001 musical comedy cult hit and the greatest movie of all time, Josie and the Pussycats. This was one of my favorites as a kid, and I was shocked, actually, when I was doing the research to find out that the budget was $39 million, and it only made $14.9 million at the box office, which made it a complete flop. And I think this film deserves a lot better. Okay? It is one of the greatest movies of all time that has ever been made. Okay, that joke will probably make more sense near the end of the podcast. But yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it anyway. Okay, but yeah, it now has a cult following, kind of proving that it is actually really great. And I'm really excited to be a part of that cult. I'm a proud member. Okay, so let's talk about Josie and the Pussycats. All right, so we open and we are on a tarmac at an airport. Like, I can't remember. Is it Backstreet? I think it's Backstreet Boys are the ones that had that music video that was like on a tarmac. Or was it 98 Degrees? I don't know. Someone will tell me. Somebody always texts me after these when I'm wrong about something or don't know. So whoever you are, thank you in advance for this one. But yeah, there's a boy band called Du Jour that is doing, I guess, a little pop-up concert before they go on their airplane. And they're singing their latest hit, which is called Backdoor Lover. Which y'all can't even be mad. That is very funny, okay? It's real good. And the members of the band are Donald Faison, which is Turk in Scrubs. We've got Seth Green and Brecklin Meyer, which I knew him from Clueless, and then another man who I don't know, and I forgot to copy his name in my notes. So, other man, I am very sorry. I do not remember your name. But there were 4 of them, and so they're a ragtag group. Singing about being backdoor lovers. So they perform for a crowd that's just waiting on the tarmac, because that used to be something you could do, I guess. And then they get on their airplane, and we meet their manager, which is Alan Cumming. What a gift. We need to talk about Alan Cumming more, I think, in our everyday lives. He is truly too good for everyone. We don't deserve him. He is so talented and so magnificent. I love Alan Cumming. Maybe this podcast is now about Alan Cumming. I don't know, maybe. Why not, you know? This world's bonkers. Let's do it. This podcast is now Funny Fat Alan Cumming friend. That is so dumb. This is who I am. Okay, so Alan Cumming is their manager. His name is Wyatt Frame. And he works for the label. And while they're on the airplane, all of the Du Jour boys start to fight with each other pretty much. Just like little tiffs. And it's fun. And they keep fighting about dumb things, and Alan Cumming is like resolving all of it. And then finally one of them is like, also, we were listening like to our song and we notice something kind of weird, and they play the song and it's like this subliminal messaging about how like Coke is the future, everyone drink Coca-Cola, that sort of thing. And Wyatt's like, oh yikes, yeah, we should definitely look into that, we should. And he goes to the pilot and he's like, it's time to go. And shit, he says like the name of a famous song that's like about leaving or something, and I guess that's like the code word. And they jump out of the airplane. Wyatt and the pilot just jump out of the airplane, and they land in a field, and we see the airplane just go down and explode. So that's exciting. So what an open, right? What an opening. I want to, yeah, somebody else come at me and tell me there's a more exciting film opening. I'm ready to hear it. Apocalypse Now is pretty cool. Okay, besides Apocalypse Now. Okay, it's Josie and the Pussycats, the Pookie Cats, and Apocalypse Now. Those are your options for the greatest film openings of all time. 2001: Space Odyssey is pretty good. Okay, but I digress. So yeah, the plane crashes. Wyatt is safe, and we see that he has landed in a field. We see a town sign, and it is Riverdale. Which, okay, I knew Josie and the Pussycats was part of like the Archie comics because I watch Riverdale, that CW show that is really terrible, that I talk to every person I've ever met and I tell them I watch that show and they get so disappointed in me. But I like it, okay? It's not good. It's not good at all, and I'll never argue that it is. But I like it. And yeah, so they land in Riverdale. And I don't know why I didn't remember that when I rewatched it this time, that it was all a part of that. But yeah. So Riverdale. They get to Riverdale, and we meet Josie and the Pussycats. They're playing a concert, and it's pretty cute. They're singing a little song, and it's fun. And we see that they're just like in a bowling alley, just in the corner of a bowling alley. And they get done with their song, and they're like, yay, we made $20. And then they're like, ooh, minus the rental for the shoes, because apparently they had to still check out bowling shoes. It's a good joke. And those are $5 a person, so they made $5, which is pretty good. $5 to play one song? I don't know. I think that's pretty alright. But, so yeah, obviously they have their little girl group, which it's Josie and Valerie and Melody, which, let's see, Josie is played by Rachel Lee Cook, which I only know her from that one movie. Oh no. Is it She's All That? I think that might be it. She's like, it's her and Freddie Prinze Jr. and she's some like pretty ugly girl, you know, where she's like wearing overalls and her hair's in a ponytail and she does art. But then she gets with Freddie Prinze Jr. and he takes her ponytail out and puts her in a dress and she's hot, you know, one of those. And she's Josie. And then Tara Reid is Melody. Good for Tara Reid. And then Valerie Brown is played by Rosario Dawson, which also, this podcast is just about Rosario Dawson now too. I think what also a gift to this world that we don't deserve is Rosario Dawson in every single way. So talented, beautiful voice, beautiful everything, so pretty. But yeah, she's in this movie. She's the person of color, besides Turk. Donald Faison, who died in the first minute of the movie. Yeah, so cool. That's Josie and the Pussycats. Well, actually, they're just called the Pussycats at the beginning of the movie. That's the name of their band. They're the Pussycats. and they wear cute little leopard print ears, as one does. I want some of those. But okay. So they're an unsuccessful band, but they're cute and they're best friends and they all love each other, and it's really nice. And I like it a lot. Wyatt goes to a mall in Riverdale and has them play the newest du jour single that's post them going missing. There's a newscast playing on a TV that's about the band du jour going missing after their plane falls out of the sky. So they're not claimed to be dead yet. So that's good, I guess. But Alan Cumming has their newest single be played to see if it's, I guess, effective at brainwashing people. And it is. We see all the people in the store saying, oh, I need to buy Coca-Cola and I need to wear only this color and stuff like that. And there's one person that isn't into it. And she's a fun, gothy babe. And Alan Cumming is oh, I'd actually like your opinion. And he takes her outside and they kidnap her. They put her in a van and it drives away and we don't address it. So I guess that's what happens. That's what happens if the subliminal messaging does not work on you. You get taken. Oh, good. Okay, so Alan Cumming comes across the Pussycats, and instantly he sees them. They're walking across the street while he's driving, and they have their little instruments with them, as a band does. And he sees them and immediately is hey, I'm gonna sign you all to a contract. And they're what? That doesn't make sense. So I love that they understand that it is a wild thing, but they sign it anyway, because how are they gonna miss out on that? So yeah, they sign the contract with this major label, and we meet their manager, which is, what is his name? Alexander. His name is Alexander. We also meet his sister, Alexandra, which I like that she's in it. Because at one point, Alexander is why are you even here? And she goes, because I'm in the comics. And he goes, what? And she goes, nothing. The self-awareness is... this movie is very ahead of its time. We're going to talk more about that. But yeah, it's wonderful. So yeah, we meet the manager and he goes with them to, they all fly to New York City to start their lives, recording and stuff like that. And they also bring along this man with a soul patch named Alan M., who is just Josie's friend and crush, that neither of them have talked about their feelings. They just keep being weird. But she gets to bring him. Which, if that isn't a sign, I don't know. It's okay. The feelings are hard. So yeah. They all get on a private jet together and go to New York. And Wyatt renames them Josie and the Pussycats, without asking them at all. And it's weird, but whatever. They accept it. They already have a billboard in Times Square when they land that says Josie and the Pussycats. So then we get some background kind of on the record label, which is named Mega Records. And we meet the CEO, which is Fiona, who is played by Parker Posey, who is also a fucking world treasure. Parker Posey. Yeah, this movie is just full of good. Everything is good in this movie. All of it's so good. Okay, Parker Posey. Parker Posey might be my favorite part. I think Parker Posey is my favorite part of this movie. She kills this character. She is so good at this. At being so vapid and awful and trying to be sly but terrible at it. Ugh. What a queen. Does she have an Oscar? I don't think so. She should. Let's give her an Oscar for this now. Yeah. Yeah, I decide that we can do that. I'll send an email. Okay. So yeah, we meet Fiona, and she's the head of Mega Records, and she's having like this meeting with all these government officials at the record store. At the office for the record label. And she takes them, and she like hits a button on her desk, and suddenly the room turns into an elevator, and they go like underground into this secret facility, and she shows them all how they're inserting subliminal messaging into pop music to brainwash teenagers into buying consumer products. It's like, yeah, that's a conspiracy that I'm surprised isn't like blown up every couple of years, you know? Like, I remember, like, was it like the 60s or something where people were playing their records backwards? They were playing rock music backwards, and they were like, this is the devil. So we know that that is a thing people think can happen. But yeah, especially now with like PC music, like stuff like that, like really cranking the technology aspects of modern pop music to their extremes. You would think, well, maybe I'm probably also just not in the right friend groups to see maybe people who would think that the devil is talking through pop music. If you are, hit me up. Send me a screenshot of your fun aunt's post about how there's subliminal messaging from the devil in modern pop music. Thank you. Okay, so yeah. So she tells them that that's what they're doing there. And the government officials are all excited. They're like, ooh, we can use this as a weapon. Because we're the government and we're bad. Yay. But they also are like, well, what happens if, like, these artists figure it out? Like, what if they, like, can hear it? And she just explains. She's like, well, yeah, we just, like, get rid of them. And we have, like, the perfect cover for it. And they play, like, a VH1 behind the music intro. It's just, like, about some artist that, like, overdosed or went crazy, or there's a plane crash, or that sort of thing. So that explains it away. That's so smart. This is a really like kooky plot, but it's amazing. Yeah, it's great. So we have that going on. So we know the government is now in on it, and that Josie and the Pussycats are the new band that is going to be pushing this messaging. And their first single comes out, and obviously the subliminal messaging makes it super successful. And they listen to it, like, in the studio, and Melody, in the middle of it, is like, I want a Big Mac. And they're like, girl, you're a vegetarian. She's like, yeah, I know, but, like, I just really want a Big Mac all of a sudden. Oof. And yeah. Then they, like, make it... this part I don't really like. How they kind of... Valerie Rosario Dawson, the bass player in the band, which is the coolest instrument to play. It's an instrument I play that. She starts to, like, kind of resent Josie, since she's, like, the leader, I guess, now. It's a lot of just, like, the messaging stuff. It's just getting to her, I guess, and so she kind of, like, starts to feel left out and sad, and, but then Wyatt is all like, well, we're throwing a party for all of you, or for Josie and Melody. And Valerie's like, well, I'm in the band too. And he's like, oh, I guess it's fine. You can come too. It's whatever. And so they have a party that Fiona throws. And they get to meet Fiona, which her entrance is just amazing. She, like, glides down the stairs. She gets carried down the stairs, actually. And, like, is singing a song. And it's just full bonkers and great. And then she, like, takes the girls to her bedroom? I don't really know. The room that she goes into is really, it's weird and creepy. It kind of reminds me of, like, how everything in Spy Kids is fake. You know, those rooms, like the green screen, giant weird rooms. It's like one of those. Nowhere else are you gonna be listening to someone discussing film and to explain how something looks, they use Spy Kids. You're welcome. You've chosen correctly. But yeah, so they're in this weird room, and Fiona is trying to, like, be fun friends with them. But it's very, like, high school, what you read in a teen magazine, things you do at a sleepover. Like, we're gonna braid each other's hair, and we're gonna talk about how we shouldn't eat food and need to diet and stuff. Like, she even, like, compares their weights to each other. It's very scary and bad. But just helps prove how scary and bad Fiona is. And they get out of there, and that's good. But Melody is like, yo, Fiona is not a good person. I feel it in my bones. And Melody is like, for jokes, see, it's very, like, bubbly and has no common sense. Like, at one point, she's, like, taking a shower and singing the "If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands" song to herself while she's holding a loofah. And every time she gets to the clap your hands part, she claps her hands and drops her loofah and has to pick it up. You do it 3 times. She does it 3 times. But yeah, that's her character development. But when she does come out, that is important. When she does come out of the shower, though, there's a message written on her mirror in lipstick that's like, you're in danger. So that's kind of eerie. But she looks at it and screams, and then takes her lipstick and turns, like, one of the letters into a smiley face and another letter into a heart. And she's like, that's better, and then moves on. So, yes. It's so good. They're so fun. It's so fun and dumb and great. But yeah, okay. So Party is bad. Fiona is bad. And so because Valerie and Melody don't like her that much, Fiona tells Wyatt that they should just kill them. They're just gonna kill them, and they're just gonna keep Josie. Yikes. So yeah, that's bad. But Wyatt is, I guess, clever. The way that he, like, acts it out is he tells Valerie and Melody that they got invited to be on TRL, and that Josie has to, like, work on the vocals for a new track. So Valerie and Melody go to Total Request Live TRL, and Carson Daly is there. For real Carson Daly. It's pretty fun. But first they meet Aries Spears, which I know him from Mad TV. He was, like, one of the lead guys on Mad TV. And he's like, I'm Carson Daly. And they're like, no, you're not. I haven't decided if it's funny, but that means that it's probably not. If I can't decide if it's funny or not, it's not. It's not funny. It's not a funny bit. I don't understand it at all. I guess Aries Spears was just, like, either somebody's friend or just somebody that somebody in the cast really liked or thought was fun. And that's why he got in this movie, but okay. So yeah, he's there. And then Carson Daly comes out and is like, man, you gotta stop pretending to be me. And he's like, oh, okay. And all of the set around them is just like cardboard and just like really poorly made. And they're like, is this really TRL? And he's like, no, it's TRD. Total request die. And they pull out baseball bats. And I guess they're just gonna beat them to death. I don't know. But, yeah, they don't. Valerie and Melody handle themselves. And they get away. Oh, golly. But this whole time, Wyatt has had Josie listening to this new track, which has like subliminal messaging in it that makes her get really egotistical and think that she should be the only one in the band and that the other two are holding her back, which was interesting because I guess Wyatt... I guess they did that to make sure that she felt okay being in the band alone, but like it only really helped for the fact that Valerie and Melody like came back and were trying to talk to her about it, and she was like, whatever, I don't need you guys. So it's like that messaging wouldn't have really helped if they had been dead. I don't know. Who am I? But so they have like a fight and Josie's mean and is like, I don't need you guys. I'm a solo act now. And that's sad. And they break up. But yeah. But shortly after the band breaks up, Josie starts to realize that something is weird about the single she's been listening to. And she figures out that, that there's like subliminal messaging in the track. Because she goes to like the studio and isolates it out just by moving some faders. Sure, that's audio engineering, you guys. She just moves some faders around and it all works. But while she's figuring this out, Fiona shows up and is like, well, you did it. You figured it out, but it doesn't matter because we own you. And she like reveals her big plan, which is that they're going to do this big pay-per-view concert that's streamed online and like to the entire world. And they've gotten everybody to buy these cat ear headphones to wear during the concert. And they're gonna pump in massive subliminal messages through the headsets. Like just the biggest amount of subliminal messaging. I don't really understand why it's I don't know. But yeah, it's a thing. And yeah. So they just basically kidnap her and force her to have to perform by herself, or they're going to. But Valerie and Melody show back up and are like, no, she's our girl, yo. We're not going to let her be alone. And that's really sweet. And this movie is just about friends. Isn't that nice? It's just about girls being friends. We don't have enough of that, you guys. This is really nice. But yeah, okay. So they show up and they're all together and they're like, yeah. But then they like grab Valerie and Melody and they put them in a car that's backstage for some reason on this like turntable. And they're like, well, Josie, if you don't perform by yourself, this is what the news is going to run. And they have already like an MTV News anchor being like, 2 members of Josie and the Pussycats found dead. And Josie is going to make a statement later today. So she just like manipulates her, obviously, into saying that she'll go ahead and do the show anyway. And But then the car, like, they're thwarted. There's like an explosion elsewhere in the backstage, and it's du jour shows up. 3 of them are in full body casts, and one of them just has a cane. And they find out that, the plane crashed in the middle of a Metallica concert where they were severely assaulted by several fans. But the guy who wasn't completely messed up knew all the words to Enter Sandman, so he was safe. This is so good. This plot is everything. So yeah, with the help of du jour, they're able to stop Wyatt and Fiona, and Josie and the Pussycats go out onto the stage. Oh man. But yeah, they all fight, and during it, Fiona destroys the machine that has like all the messaging, the mixer. She accidentally messes it up, and it starts playing all the messages that were going to be like subliminally put into the songs, and they're all just like about Fiona being really cool and how everybody should think Fiona is really cool and pretty and stuff. And it's just really sad and embarrassing and uncomfortable. And then Fiona is like, okay, now you know, I just want people to like me because in high school people made fun of me and my lisp, and I'm sad. And then Wyatt is all like, hey girl, I think I know you from high school. I was that albino kid that everybody made fun of. And so they reveal their true selves to each other, and they fall in love. So that's good. So the 2 villains reveal their true selves, and they only became villains because they wanted to fit in, and that's sad. But they're in love now, and that's nice. So be yourself, and you can fall in love. That's nice. But then finally the police and like government agents show up. And the Josie is like, they were doing this subliminal messaging thing, you'll never believe it. Which of course we know that the government was in on it. But they take the opportunity to be like, oh no, yeah, arrest them. And they arrest Fiona and Wyatt to cover up, the whole thing. Oh my gosh. But Fiona's like, you wanted this. Like, you were part of this. You can't do this. And he's like, well, no, we actually, like, weren't gonna use your subliminal messaging. We found out it works way better in movies anyway. And then it flashes across the screen. It says, Josie and the Pussycats is the best movie ever. Haha. So you remember when I said at the beginning of the podcast that it was the best movie? That's the joke. It's full circle. We went full circle because I was subliminally messaged by the movie. I love it. Yep, it was worth the bit, you guys. I really like it. I want that t-shirt. One of my friends has a t-shirt that has like exactly that text from the movie on a shirt, and I want it. If anybody finds that, let me know. I can make it, but I don't want to. It's hard. I don't want to do work. Okay, so yeah. So they arrest the bad guys. And then Josie, Melody, and Valerie go out to perform their concert. And you guys remember Alan M? Yeah, me neither. He didn't matter. I'm sorry, but he didn't matter. But Alan M, the guy that Josie loves, but they're just friends, he shows up and confesses his love for her, and she also says she loves him on stage, and everybody's like, "Aw, that's nice." But it was totally dumb. But then she gives this nice speech, and it's like, "Hey, everybody, take off your little cat ears, and let's get real. Don't do stuff just 'cause people tell you to do stuff to be cool. That's not cool." Yep. But and she actually, the quote is, "It's cool. We're gonna play some music for you guys. It's cool if you like it. It's all right if you don't." And that's nice. And then they play music, and then that's the end of the movie. That's so good. I think that's the fastest I think that I've ever summarized a movie before. I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, that's LOL summarize. I don't summarize. I take as long as the movie is to tell you about it. Y'all should just watch these movies. But thank you for listening anyway. But okay, that's Josie and the Pussycats. That's what happens in it. It's so disappointing. It has a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 3.3 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is bums me out for real. Roger Ebert gave it half a star when it came out. He gave it half of a star, not even a full star, half of a star, and he compared it pretty much to Spice World, which is the most insulting thing that anyone could do. Spice World is the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, you can't even stream that. It's so bad. Like, they've tried to bury it. It's such an awful movie. I had to bid on a copy of it on eBay to get my copy. Because, like, they've tried to deny that this movie exists. It's so bad. It's about the Spice Girls, and it doesn't make any sense. The movie doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to do it on the podcast. You can borrow it from me sometime so you can experience. I don't want to ever have to watch it again. So yeah, that was extremely mean. It seems like for most of the critical responses, it seems like the satire of the movie went over a lot of people's heads. So it's completely satirizing consumerist capital culture, which I guess was so unexpected of a movie about young girls being friends. So they just like didn't get it that it was satire because they didn't think the movie could be that smart or self-aware. I think that's more about the critics themselves being biased than it is actually the movie. Like, because it's really amazing the way they do it. It's really well done. Like, every single scene has tons of like product placement and tongue-in-cheek jokes and stuff like that, which none of the like product placement or stores you see in the movie paid to be in the movie. It was all like a very conscious creative choice. It was awesome. I really loved it. It came out in like 2001. That's something you would see now. That's like the criticism of capitalism is something we're really about right now. But yeah, I think it's dope. I think it's so dope. Oh. Also, there's this YouTuber I really love. He made a video about Josie and the Pussycats. His name is John Field Show. I highly recommend. Check him out. Subscribe. But he made a film essay about Josie and the Pussycats that I love. And he actually calculated there's a lot of screaming in this movie because, screams. Women scream. But he calculated how much of it there is. He put it all together, and it was 9.5 full minutes of just screaming happens in this movie, which I thought was just a really fun fact that I wanted to bring up. That 10% of the movie is just people screaming. Oh man. one of the things that is like successful, even just like I guess objectively about it, was the soundtrack. The soundtrack actually did really well. It went gold. It sold a lot of albums, which I'm happy for. The soundtrack is really fun. It is like the songs Backdoor Lover, man. How could you not have an album that slaps with a song called Backdoor Lover on it, you know? But some of the people involved with that, actually I was surprised by, which was Babyface. Babyface is involved. Adam Duritz. He's the lead singer of Counting Crows. And yeah, Adam Schelslinger from Fountains of Wayne. R.I.P. He's really insanely talented. He was really good at writing songs. He wrote a lot of songs for musicals and things like that, and it's super good. But yeah, the music was so well made. The songs are really catchy and fun and smart and weird and goofy, like all the things I love. The only thing I really don't like about the movie is like the weird love subplot with Alan M, which I didn't even really talk about, you know, because I talked about it almost as much as it's in the movie. I think he's in maybe 3 scenes, and it took away. I think it was in there because it was kind of like there has to be some romantic element. We weren't confident enough, I guess, to completely make a movie about women that was just about their relationships with each other the whole time, and that's it. I guess they were like, we gotta have something because teen girls won't care if there's not a hot boy. So I give that definitely to like the 2000s being lame. Yeah, but yeah, it should have it could have rested completely on its laurels of like centering around women and their relationships to each other and the conflicts that they have just like naturally from society fucking sucking when it comes to being a woman. And it was like completely ahead of its time for what it did do in that way. Like, I think, yeah, it was. It completely was. It was ahead of its time. I think of it a lot like, when it comes to satire, I think of it in a similar vein to like Idiocracy is like did really poorly when it came out, but now we are like, oh my gosh, this is so smart and great. And I feel a lot of that towards Josie and the Pussycats. I know it seems so goofy, especially talking about it, but like, it's so smart. Like, these jokes are like goofy and ridiculous, but they're all rooted in like these harsh honesties about like capitalism and feminism and like our expectations as a society put onto like women in the American dream and the music industry and critiquing celebrity. That's crazy. It's so wild. It's so good. Please watch Josie and the Pussycats. Give it love. It deserves love. And I think my favorite thing about it is it placing its biggest importance on people thinking for themselves. Like, that's like the big moral of the story is that you should think for yourself. Wow. Right? What teen movie can you think of that has a moral that's good? Like, just think for yourself. So yeah, do I relate to this movie? Not very much. Honestly, I want to relate to it a lot more, but honestly, it's a movie from the 2000s, like a low budget comedy movie that was targeted towards white teen girls. So it wasn't ever meant to be for me to identify with it. Rosario Dawson is a person of color, so that's very cool. She's one of the lead characters, which was dope. But she doesn't have similar struggles to me, I guess. So I don't really identify very much at all with her, but I do identify with like the female friendships and the importance of those, and like, yeah, and loving music. But that's about it. So not much. Oh, hey guys, a tree just fell outside my window, so that's lit. If you can hear that. I think that's a good sign. I need to wrap up. So yeah, watch Josie and the Pussycats. Watch Josie and the Pussycats. It's the greatest movie ever made. I think that's Swedish. Was that a Swedish accent? Do you guys think? Should I be a character actor? Comment below. I don't know if you can comment below. I don't think most people listen to this on iTunes and Spotify, so you can't comment below. But you can text me or message me on social media. Let me know how you liked my accent. Okay, so this one was weird also. They're all gonna be weird. And I'm tired all the time now. So this probably won't be edited very much either. So you got all the good. Alright, I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay, yeah, with that, I have been your friendly neighborhood fat friend, Allie. As always, thank you for listening, and I would lovingly tear down capitalism and form a rock band with you anytime. Alright, talk at you next time. Bye.